It seems that Gen V has made it a practice to end each season with a graphic massacre on the Godolkin University campus. This time, when Marie, Jazz Sinclair, and the group make a final last-ditch effort to stop the murderous dean, we're witnessing the fruits of Thomas Godolkin's Ethan Slater promise to cull the herd. Even while the finale's scope isn't quite as expansive as it could have been, the episode nonetheless makes a suitable conclusion to a fun sophomore season. If it comes to that, it even makes a good series conclusion, but we'll get there. You're undoubtedly still in shock over the revelation that Hamish Linklater's character was really a puppet for the season's real antagonist, assuming you didn't see the Cypher Godolkin twist coming. That twist helps give the finale an early momentum it doesn't waste, and it was undoubtedly a fantastic approach to crank up the tension in episode 7. Once more, this episode's scope proves to be somewhat less than anticipated. I after to begin with Godolkin continuing to inflict psychic harm on the pupils he so obviously hates, considering how episode 7 concluded. Later in the episode, Godolkin's murderous rampage is limited to the small group of students that attend his seminar. It seems as though there was a concern that things would go out of hand and that they would have to explain why Anthony Starr's Homelander isn't coming to step in. In the end, the show benefits from the more subdued, personal approach. The early emphasis on Godolkin and Sister Sage by Susan Hayward contributes to the dramatic psychological portrayal of a man who is unable to avoid turning into his own worst enemy. Godolkin has already won this episode. By deceiving Marie into curing him, he obtained exactly what he desired. He can now be with Sage and take back his position at Vault International's top levels. Even though he has everything, his stupid fixation with sorting the wheat from the chaff keeps getting in the way. We see where Godolkin ends up because he is so conceited that he thinks he is smarter than the world's smartest person. Seeing Slater fully commit to a role that had previously been played by Hamish Linklater is half the enjoyment of Guardians of Godolkin. Without merely repeating Linklater's portrayal, Slater manages to make this feel like the same persona. The chilly menace and sarcastic wit are present in full force, but they are tempered by a certain amount of frenzied abandon. Once more, this is the result of Cypher losing the plot after tasting what he wants. Sinclair even gets a delightful sequence in which she plays Godolkin's possessed Marie. Fortunately, even though Linklater is now essentially playing a completely different character as Doug, he isn't entirely consigned to the background. Linklater scenes, one that offers us a glimpse of how terrible it is to be Godolkin's flesh puppet, and the other that allows the late Chance Perdomo's character Andre some closure. Given everything Doug has been through, I wish he had been given more to do than those two sequences. It seems like the character deserved better than to be quickly killed off by Black Noir. Regarding Sage, the character continues to be creatively utilized in the series in her function as a frequent visitor. Here, we see Sage in a completely different light, in love, and obviously out of her depth as a result. Sage's bedside conversation with Godolkin reveals a great deal of vulnerability, and when she visits Sean Patrick Thomas's polarity and discovers that her partner has wasted everything they have worked for, she feels a wounded sense of sadness. Despite being his own worst adversary in this episode, Godolkin most likely would have prevailed if it weren't for his all-seeing lover. There is no disappointment in the last confrontation between Godolkin and our warriors. Even although Godolkin's murderous rampage is fairly restrained, it nevertheless gives one a twisted sense of satisfaction to see him slaughter his students and then make them dance for his entertainment. The fact that God used weakest and lambest students play a crucial role in overthrowing the powerful dean is similarly satisfying, demonstrating Sage's assertion that the most dangerous adversaries are those who have nothing to lose. Additionally, Godolkin's last dying scene is just as graphic and repulsive as viewers have been accustomed to. It's a fitting conclusion for a man who, by the end, had become far too intoxicated. After that, it's worthwhile to take a closer look at the last scene and consider whether General V has a future. Erin Moriarty's Starlight and Jesse T. Usher's A-Train both swing by to publicly welcome Marie and her pals to join the Resistance, which is an unexpected way for Season 2 to end and set the stage for The Boys Season 5. A good nigh-end needle drop never hurts, and it's a perfect way to wrap up Season 2 and acknowledge that these characters are now prepared to take on the big leagues. However, does this imply that Gen V Season 3 won't be produced? In this case, are we witnessing the series finale? Maybe. The main question is what state this universe will be in by the time The Boys Season 5 concludes. Will the VOT still exist, let alone a superhuman college supported by it? By then, how many of these characters will be alive? Even though I would really like to see more Gen V, if that is the intention, this is a good way to end the episode. If nothing else, viewers will be glad they watched this spin-off when The Boys eventually returns because its finale ends one era and sets up an explosive crossover.